Hi coaches, wanted to introduce and talk a little bit about our baseball, softball practice schedule and something that we created that can really help you plan out your practice schedule for that day or even future practice schedules. We know that simplicity and preparation are a big part of a successful program or practice. So what we've designed is a simple practice schedule that you can fill out in your car before going out to practice or at your office when you're leaving work, just using a simple pen, a dry erase pen, on this laminated sheet, and go through and fill out your practice plan both on the front and back. So what this practice plan really is a way for you to track what you've done in the past and what you're going to be doing on each and every day. So taking the pen, you can come through and we start with our focus points. Okay? This whole sheet has to do with, on the left side, our start time, so that we're sticking with the time allotted for practice. Our center section is going to be the activity that we're doing at a specific time. And over on the end, we have activity options for each of these sections, which you're going to be able to use, pull over. That way it keeps ideas flowing, so you're not doing the same thing every practice. Okay? So getting into it. How one could use this as they're preparing for practice. First practice there is saying, you know what, it's February 1st and I'm at Bannerwood Park or whatever field you're at. I have an hour and a half practice and my start time is going to be at 1 o'clock. Okay, as I'm going through this, I know when I start and when I end. So my last activity, my reflection time, I'm going to want at least 5 minutes from that. I like to work backwards to see how much time I have, or what areas on this sheet do I really need to spend the most time with. So, focus points for the day, pretty simple. I can take out my pen and I say over here on my activity options, you know, I really want to talk about awards for the team. I want to give some scheduling announcements and, you know, our game recap from the day before. So, I have it listed here on my schedule. I'm going to give this actually start time. Let's say practice started at 1 o'clock. I know this is going to take 5 minutes to go through. So I'm pulling things from the right that I want to talk about with our players at that time. It keeps me focused so that I don't go on rambling for a half hour about various things. I'm hitting my points and getting ready for practice. Now when I go to warm-ups, same thing. I have options on the right. I know I need to cover upper, lower, and core to get these guys loose. So I can say, you know what, we're going to do inchworms, we're going to do high knees, etc. So I can sit here and fill out what we're going to be doing on the warm-up. The nice thing for this is, next practice I pull out my sheet, I can see what we did last time. You know, last time we did high knees, and I want to vary it up this time. So maybe I'm going to just erase high knees and insert something else on our sheet to keep practice new and exciting every time. Same thing when I go down to mobility. Typically, after we get loose, I like to do something to get the players run around, work on their agility. And this is a great time where we can also work on not only our agility like ladders and cones and sprints, but also base running, tag ups from third, rounding of first. So I can sit there, let's say for mobility, we're going to use first thirds, working on our turnaround second, and we're also going to do some cone series. Okay? So I also know these are the two things that we're going to be working on today, and I can easily explain to my coaches and hold them accountable to this. Where are my stations going to be, which can also go off to the side of my notes. First and third on field, and cone series, right field line. Alright, so there I have it. Working my way through practice. After we get done with our mobility stuff, we're going to jump into throwing. This is a part where we need to make sure we're focused. We don't want to sit there and have our kids continue to throw 120 feet over and over and over. We have to have a plan as we're going forward throughout the season. So maybe today we're going 120, the next day we're going to go 150. So if today we were throwing 120, okay, and I have that written down, the next practice I look at this, I notice we've only been going 120. So now let's bump it up a little bit. Or if I saw that we just got done throwing 180 long toss, maybe we're going to dial it down a little bit. All right? And then also it has activity options for as we're coming in. Outfielders, I want long hop, no hop. Infielders, I want to work on quick feet and exchanges. Okay? But documenting all these things helps us run through practice. So we slide it over on the back, and we have our stations, both for hitting and for fielding. So for our hitting stations, let's say we want it, based on the space that we have, we can fit in a T station, we can fit in a front toss, and we can do a visualization. Okay, T, front toss, visualization. Okay, and I also know that I have 3 coaches here today. So breaking into 3 groups would be good for us. Okay, if we have 2 coaches, maybe we need to have more players per group and only do 2, that way we can keep our eyes on the players. So that covers our hitting, our fielding options. You know what? I really want to work on our footwork. That's something that we've been struggling with. That's the kind of the foundation of fielding a ball. So we're going to have a footwork station in the infield. And I noticed that maybe we're going to do some QB drills in the outfield. And what else do we have over here? Oh, great one. Pre-pitch. We're going to have a pre-pitch timing station because every player that's on defense has some sort of pre-pitch that needs to be on time. So this is something that maybe we should do consistently. So as we're writing that out, I know I want to do those. Again, filling out start times, or that can wait till the end. And then we're going on to teamwork. So after we're focusing on the individual skill piece of it, our teamwork. Okay, it's not only about the skill that you can bring right then and there on each individual play, but bringing everyone together and doing that team piece of it is important. How are we communicating? Do we understand what each person on the field is doing? Also a crucial aspect to building a strong environment. So for the teamwork aspect of it, you know what? Let's do picks and rundowns. And let's also work on bunt D. Just those 2 today. I'm going to allocate about 7 to 10 minutes for each of these things, most likely. And as the season goes on and we're getting really good at it, maybe it's only 5 minutes, okay, as we're becoming more efficient with it. But again, next time I go to practice, I see that we already worked on these. I can look over at our activity options and pick 2 different ones. Instead of picks and rundowns, maybe we're going to do cuts and relays. Instead of bunt D, we're going to take an infield outfield, okay? So having this is going to allow us to vary the schedule. The next section, competition. This can be a number of different things. We have a whole bunch of options on the right for you to use, but this is also another opportunity for you to be creative and find ways to help kids be creative, or to help kids be competitive. So let's say we want to do a throwing competition. We put a bucket at home, we have everyone in the outfield or at various positions, and everyone's job is to field it clean and throw it through the net or the bucket at home. And we have divide up into 2 teams. Whichever team comes out with more points wins. Or we have half the team over at second, half the team at home, and we're doing a base running competition relay race. There's a lot of different options that we can do these kind of things. And the more creative we can be and vary these things up practice to practice, the more receptive our players are going to be in the end. And then lastly, reflection. So once we've gone through an entire practice, our players are working hard, our coaches are working hard, there's focus, we feel like we've been prepared all day because we've already filled this out. It's a good time to maybe share vision with the other players about what we can do. Bring out the character piece. Compliment some people on their hard work, that what they've done today, that maybe they didn't take any solid swings or hit any home runs or what have you, but they did bring something to the table. So knowing that they can come back and really hear from their coach or hear from one another, what do we want to do at the end of practice to solidify this? And then the last section of notes. Throughout the practice, as we're walking around and coaching up, maybe one of the players or coaches said something that was influential to us that we really think everyone needs to hear. Right down at the bottom. Take those notes and continue on with practice. But this gives us a guideline so that we can continue to be productive, we can be on time, and we can keep practice, our lives simple, by planning ahead so we can have a productive practice. So quick rundown for you on how all this happens and how you can implement it and put it together. Cheers to having a great season and being the best coach, best parent that you can possibly be.